The lever was able to get their hands on some internal documents from Aipac, a tremendous force in U.S. politics, revealing some of their top donors. We can go ahead and put this up on the screen. Headline here, inside the Israel lobby's new $90 million war chest, internal Aipac materials reveal huge gifts from moguls and the strategies lobbyists used to score the cash. Joining us now in order to break down that bombshell report is senior enterprise reporter for the Lever, Amos Barshad. Great to have you, Amos. Welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, of course. Just tell us a little bit to start with about what you found here.
So basically, we were able to, through the course of our reporting, learn a good amount about, internal Aipac information, namely donors. These are not donors that are public under, election disclosure laws, and also specifically the amount of money that has come in kind of at the end of 2023. And then from there also some of the manners in which they were able to solicit the donations, the actual kind of talking points and, effectively the way that Aipac speaks to its own donors, which is, despite, the Aipac's long and well covered history, as far as being a political player, this is not stuff that has previously been covered at length.
So tell us about some of the people that you were able to uncover, Amos.
There's a lot of finance, private equity individuals, a good amount of kind of well-known founders of companies from companies like Zumba, the founder of the Sharper Image, one name in particular that may be well known, or at least the company may be well known as the owner of OnlyFans, the internet platform that's kind of well known for adult content. Leonid Radvinsky, we should say that he denied being a donor, but there was some information, specifically a wire transfer from his wife to Aipac, which we weren't able to get comment on from him. So,
Amos, I actually have that part of the report, if I could just read it because it's kind of entertaining. You say that 3 individuals named on the list denied being donors. That includes Leonid Radvinsky, the billionaire owner of OnlyFans. According to the internal documents, Radvinsky and his wife pledged $11 million to Aipac, the most of anyone listed. Quote, "I didn't donate or pledge $11 million, Radvinsky wrote in an email, and this applies to me, my foundation, my family. When the Lever asked Radvinsky why Aipac had listed him as a donor, he replied, I don't know. When the Lever asked Radvinsky to comment on internal Aipac documentation showing a wire transfer from his wife to Aipac, Radvinsky stopped responding." So once you showed him the actual documentation, suddenly he didn't have any more to say.
We asked him to comment. Just to specify, we didn't share the actual documentation. Yeah. We asked him to comment on that. Yeah, the whole experience of reporting this was very interesting and at times colorful and intense. Basically cold calling billionaires, and they don't like that. But I think at the same time, some of the people that I spoke to were happy to explain why they were donors, and I think that was illuminating, as well as hearing some of the talking points directly from Aipac. I think there was a lot to learn as far as the internal narrative, the internal conversations that are happening. I guess you could say like within the Aipac community.
So, Amos, why did Aipac solicit this money from these donors? What are they asking the money for? To what purpose? For a campaign? For intervening in primaries? Give us an insight into the pitch and why people were willing to donate that money.
Yeah, absolutely. So the through line, the headline is always, to strengthen the Israeli-U.S. relationship. The idea is that both countries are better off for it. And then specifically, this is kind of, it gets kind of into the nitty gritty, but Aipac is a social welfare organization. So they're legally, their primary purpose can't be politics. So this money can't necessarily be spent on politics. Like within that, there's a wide range of ways in which it can ultimately affect, the political process. But that's why it's not beholden to federal election disclosure laws. So when they are asking for the money, they don't ask for it for any specific purposes like that. It's really always about, Israel is at war and needs us, through your support for Israel right now. You too are part of this greater effort. One of the speakers through one of the events that we reviewed, was speaking and suggesting that the supporters of AIPAC are now mobilized in the war effort. Literally part of the war effort. In this dramatic and kind of I guess you could say a bit over the top way. And I think it's interesting because there's not a lot of conversation about the overall impact in Gaza. There was a good amount of conversation about civilian casualties, but only so far as to say that the IDF is doing its best to minimize the civilian casualties. And then the pitch is always, this community, the through line of the pitch is often, this community is coming together, solidarity, they need us, they need you, they need your support financially. And it becomes, a way to have impact beyond just giving money, right? It's like you're helping people in this grand and dramatic way.
Yeah.
Interesting.
A few of the other names that you have on this list that people may find noteworthy: longtime sort of infamous pollster Mark Penn, Les Wexner, famously very close associate of Jeffrey Epstein, and Congressman David Trone. Which gets to even though this is technically not a directly electoral politics organization, how impactful they are in terms of American politics. And to further underscore that, I was reminded of the fact that AIPAC leadership actually was granted a meeting with Netanyahu just a few months back. But in what ways, talk about the significance of Representative Trone, who's now running for Senate in Maryland, of his donation and the way that they're already deploying some of this money in order to shape American politics.
So Trone is interestingly rare. His campaign, he's running for Senate, was happy to confirm this because he's actually discussed his support for Israel and his support for AIPAC in the past. And so fundamentally, as part of the reporting process, this was helpful for us to confirm the veracity of the list and the information that we got in general. And then with him specifically, he's getting money back through the AIPAC PAC, which is they recently in the 2022 election cycle formed two groups, a super PAC and a PAC. So through the AIPAC PAC, they can earmark contributions from donors directly to him. And so that's what's been going on recently with him. And so it's basically the idea that he himself is donating and then in a way kind of getting the money back. I guess you could see it that way, but kind of more generally speaking, he clearly has stated where he is in the political spectrum. He is a proud AIPAC supporter. Interestingly, he has recently expressed support for a ceasefire, and so I think it is showing that as the as this war is continuing, some of the traditional hardline support may be wavering in certain ways. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll learn as this continues. And then more generally, what we saw in 2022 through their AIPACs, through their more newly formed organizations, effectively spending money in Democratic primaries, and so going after anyone that is deemed to be critical of Israel. And they also did so not by spending money on Israel, but actually spending money on the other campaign issues in any given number of those primaries. So it's just a way of spending money in what proved to be a very effective way. I think they basically in the majority of the primaries that they entered, that they spent money and they were successful in getting their preferred candidate over the line. Yeah,
well, and there were also instances, as Ryan Grimm reported in his book, where just the possibility of them getting involved in a primary was enough to win over the unconditional support of John Fetterman, apparently, in the state of Pennsylvania. And we've seen how the way that has all played out. Amos, thank you so much. This report is incredibly important. I think people need, at the very least, to understand where the money is coming from and the groups that are influencing our politics and why we see some of the dynamics unfolding that we have. So thank you so much for joining us today to unpack some of that.
Thanks, Amos.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.